If you have a growing belly, it is partially due to a special type of fat called visceral fat that gets stored deep within the abdomen and pushes outward. The abdomen is a common place for men to put on weight, but it also increases in women after they reach menopause. In this video, I share why belly fat is dangerous, a quick trick for knowing if you have too much, and the best strategies for getting rid of it. Your body stores two main types of fat: subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. The word subcutaneous literally means below the skin. So subcutaneous fat is the fat you can pinch on any area of your body, even on your belly. The word viscera refers to your internal organs. So visceral fat is the fat that forms around the abdominal organs. You can't pinch visceral fat, but if enough accumulates, it will push the belly out. And this fat can become very densely packed. So if you are a guy with a big belly that's very hard, it is due to densely packed visceral fat. We also see visceral fat in men who have been slim for most of their lives and then develop a relatively small beer belly or pouch of belly fat. And women are not immune to belly fat, particularly as we age. As a woman is nearing or at menopause, changes in hormones cause fat to be deposited in the abdomen more easily than in the hips. So even if a woman spent the early years of her life as a pear-shaped figure, as she nears or passes 50, she may find that any extra pounds go to her belly, not her hips. The problem with visceral fat is that because it is in a contained space, it doesn't have the ability to just grow like fat below the skin. So as you put on visceral fat, it packs around the organs and it crowds your liver and pancreas and intestines. And this fat is said to be metabolically active fat because it releases hormones and inflammatory agents that increase your risk of serious diseases like heart disease and Alzheimer's disease and certain cancers like breast cancer and colorectal cancer. Excessive amounts of belly fat also increase your risk of insulin resistance, which you've heard me talk about often if you follow my channel. Insulin resistance is a very common problem that makes losing weight difficult, and if not controlled, it leads to type 2 diabetes. And while there's more to be learned about the link between insulin resistance and belly fat, numerous research papers show that those with excess amounts of visceral fat produce more retinol binding protein 4, which is a substance that has been linked to reduced insulin sensitivity in the body. So how much fat is too much belly fat to be carrying around? Well, an accurate measurement of visceral fat requires a scanning test like an MRI or a CT scan, but you can get an idea of the amount of belly fat you carry by measuring your waist. According to the Harvard School of Public Health, you are carrying too much belly fat if you have a waist circumference of more than 35 inches as a woman and more than 40 inches if you are a man, with the measurements taken halfway between the top of the hip bone and the bottom of the rib cage. Now, while I was teaching, I would share a little memory trick to help students remember these measurements. And the trick is certainly not a subtle one, but it does work. And it goes like this. For women, more than a yard, too much lard. For a man, we would say a yard plus 4, but no more. Now, obviously, that only works if you measure in inches and yards like we do here in America. So for my international viewers, that might not be quite as helpful, but it doesn't change the limits. So using metric measurements, you would be looking to stay below 89 centimeters if you are a woman and below 102 centimeters if you are a man. So how do you get rid of it? Well, we know that some hormones play key roles in the accumulation of belly fat. And while women cannot do much naturally about the drop in estrogen at menopause that contributes to belly fat, women and men have control over other hormonal factors. Cortisol, for instance, is a hormone associated with belly fat. It is nicknamed the stress hormone because it is secreted during times of stress. And it works very well to help us cope with short-term stressors like being cut off in traffic. However, chronic stress, like dealing with difficult work or home situations, causes too much of this cortisol to be produced, and that contributes to weight gain and also carb cravings. Now, stress reduction techniques are valuable, but admittedly challenging to do. And you can say the same about improving sleep, which also helps to regulate hormones that are associated with weight gain and belly fat. So the important thing is to have a way of evaluating whether or not you are headed in the right direction with these lifestyle changes. And so how do you do that? Well, thanks to modern technology, it is not hard. For instance, a Fitbit or a similar device can be worn at night to track your quality of sleep. My husband wears an Oura ring, which is less cumbersome, and it's a great device for tracking sleep quality and heart rate variability, which can indicate how well you're coping with stress. And I will link to information about the Oura ring below this video. But beyond those healthy lifestyle changes, the most influence over hormonal factors that cause belly fat come from changing your diet. Fortunately, we see that visceral fat is lost through the same means by which we will lose subcutaneous fat. So your emphasis should be on eating in a way that keeps insulin low. Insulin is your fat-storing hormone, and the amount in your blood is strongly influenced by your food choices. High-carb foods like refined bread, cereal, pasta, cookies and candy, and even whole starches like potatoes and rice cause insulin to rise in your blood. And until that insulin can be cleared out, your body is in fat storing mode and fat burning is blocked. So adopting a low-carb or keto way of eating is beneficial for reducing belly fat. Another way to keep insulin low is to practice intermittent fasting, which is a timing method that provides you with long stretches of time between meals. That time away from eating allows insulin to drop so your body can enter into fat-burning mode. Now, I have many YouTube videos on low-carb dieting and intermittent fasting here on YouTube, but if you'd like a more comprehensive plan that has been put together for you, you will find that in my coaching course, where you get both low-carb and keto meal plans along with instructions on how to incorporate intermittent fasting into your routine for faster fat loss. And I will link to that course from this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please subscribe, and I will see you back here next week.